Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Cinzia from the Italy America Chamber of Commerce, and we are here with Man-Li from the Small Business Administration. And our other guest for today's webinar, Meet the Lenders. If you have any question, feel free to write them in the chat so that we can address them at the end of the webinar. I'll leave the floor to Man-Li now. Thank you, Man-Li.
Thank you. Thank you for Italy America Chamber of Commerce for hosting today's event. Today we have lenders here. But before they speak, actually, I will just make a 10 minutes presentation on SBA's financing programs. Okay. So this is my email address if you need to contact me. So if you go to sba.gov, actually you can see all the information in more than 30 different languages. You can choose the one you feel more comfortable with. And sba.gov have all the information you need from plan your business, launch your business, manage your business, to grow your business. And business guide actually have all the information, help your business go through. Also, I know everybody need funding, so funding programs. And today, actually, we will focus on financing program. For government contract, I encourage all the small business should learn and build a good relationship with those agencies need your product or services, and try to certify too. So we provide one-on-one counseling through our resource partner. So if you go to website, local assistance, enter your zip code, you can find those centers near you. They will send you the list. You contact them, make appointment with them. For government contracting, 2024 will be huge change for we call small disadvantaged business. We don't call minority. Have 14% set aside for you. 3% for hub zone, 3% for service disabled veterans, and 5% for women-owned business. So please come to learn. If you're, for example, if you are a minority women-owned business, you have 19% set aside for you. 19% of $500 billion is a lot. So this is all the website that you can search to certify your business. Disaster assistance, actually when disaster happen, we help everyone, including homeowners, renters, and nonprofit organizations with low interest rate. SBA's programs, loan programs, okay. Now we have a lender match upgraded. So you can just answer the questions about your business and just check those answers. Then of course you need to prepare your business plan, your financial projection, and you show that you're generating revenue. So this is the procedure. You register for My SBA for all the SBA financing program. You complete the application, and we will send to the lenders within 25 miles near you. And then we will send you a list of those lenders that they think you're lendable. So you can talk to them and apply through the one that you think the best for your business. SBA, actually, we have guarantee loan. SBA is not guaranteed for the business. It's guaranteed the loan to the lenders. So we work with lenders. SBA is not a lender. So actually, we guarantee the loan to the lenders. If something happens, business cannot repay the debt, then we will repay the debts actually to the lenders for borrowers. Depends on the different programs, up to 90% for international trade loan, and 7A loan will be 85%. So you don't have to contact SBA. Those lenders, they will forward your package to SBA to get approval. And lenders, they handle all loan transactions, okay? 7A loan, you can borrow up to $5 million. You can use the proceeds for almost everything, including refinance your current business debt, borrow up to $5 million. I put an interest rate and the guarantee fee information here for you. 7(a) small loan, you can borrow up to $500,000. If you borrow less than $50,000, there is no requirement to take the collateral. We also have express loan, can borrow up to $500,000. The turnaround time is only 48 hours. And we have 4 cap line, working capital line, contract line, seasonal line of credit, and builder lines. This is all up to $5 million. The second program, 504 loan, is very special. It's very specific for business to buy the existing building or land, new facility, and machinery and equipment. Also can do the improvement or moderation of your facilities. You can see the pie chart here. For business owner, only pay 10% down. If new business have to pay up to 15%, then the red part, SBA, will lend you 40%, and we will work with the lenders to lend you 50%. So actually, small business is borrowing money from 2 lenders. For the requirement, you have to use the property more than 51% for your own business. Okay, 40-something% you can rent out. So a lot of business actually use this as investing opportunities. They can use the rent to pay the mortgage, and for property interest rates, 25 years. Okay, so can go up to $12 million total. For startups, actually, we work with nonprofit organizations in different communities. So microloan, you can borrow from $500 to $50,000. I put here actually the participating microloans in Great New York area. Also, SBA, we lend money to invest companies. So we have a SBIC directory. If you think investors is good for your business, you can find the investors, but of course, you need to prepare, then pitch to them. I already talked about disasters. For international trade loan, there are 3. You can borrow up to $5 million. We broadened the definition of exporter. Even you're not exporter, if you sell your product or services to the exporter, you can use the international loan. Then right now, even the private college, if they have foreign students, they show their export plan that they recruit students from foreign countries. They can use this one. For export, we know in New York City, we don't have too many manufacturing. So our digital products actually is a New York's exporter. Even the design, fashion design, architecture design, financial services, and the legal services and marketing services are our main exporting business actually in New York. And this is the only programs that you can contact SBA. Each region, we have an export finance manager that they can help you. SBA also provide funding to each state. So they, for example, you participate in the foreign trade mission or trade show, actually they can reimburse the expenses up to 70%. So please visit your state's program. For construction company, when they get a government contract, they need to have funding. So SBA have surety bond programs to help the construction company. The last one I want to talk about, there are 2 grants, but not for you to start a business or operating business. It's for R&D, to do the research and development. Small business innovation programs. So SBA would coordinate with 11 government agencies. And the second one, the technology transfer program, have 5 agencies participate. Every year have more than 5,000 awardees, and each of the projects is more than $1 million. So I really encourage you. And finally, I want to mention now we launched the Investing in America Hub, have all the information. So if you're interested in the contracting, There are a lot of opportunities and also have a rebates and also the grants. So please come to our training. I have the training about investing in America almost every day. So please contact us. Okay, so now actually we will see and listen, learn from the lenders. So first one, thank you all the lenders being here. So first, please introduce yourself, Barden.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Man-Li, for inviting us along with the Italian American Chamber of Commerce. Barton Jackson with TD Bank. I am a regional manager in our small business team here in Manhattan. Thank you.
Renee.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Renee Cruz, Senior Business Lending Officer for BOC Capital Corp. We are the lending arm to our main organization, the Business Outreach Center Network. We're not a bank, we're a CDFI, so a Community Development Financial Institution. We're in the nonprofit world doing small business financing and supporting businesses on the technical aspects of their business as well.
Thank you, Ralph.
Emily, as always, thank you. This is Ralph Rodriguez. I'm a relationship manager at City National Bank. 70 years, we've been helping entrepreneurs, business owners, and friends and family achieve their dreams.
Thank you, Lily.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Man-Li, and thank you for Italian Association of Chamber of Commerce inviting. My name is Lily. I'm working at Dime Community Bank at Flushing location. I'm the branch manager. Being in the bank for almost 5 years. For now, we have about 60 somewhat branches around the New York City and Long Island districts.
Thank you, Leo.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Man-Li and SBA, along with the Italy American Chamber for hosting this event. My name is Leo Zhang with Pursuit CDFI and lending organization for over 65 years. So glad to be here today, and along with my esteemed panelists.
Thank you. Anthony?
Good morning, everyone. Anthony Mack here, Business Relationship Manager with JP Morgan Chase. I am an MBA holder with over 10 years of experience working with small and medium-sized companies, and I'm here to help businesses like you to make the best use of your financial resources. I also advise companies on their business expansion and future plans. So very pleased to be here. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you. Jose?
Thank you, Man-Li, for having me in the Chamber of Commerce as well. My name is Jose Mare from Ascendus. We're a nationwide CDFI lender, and I'm the director of lending in the New Jersey area.
Thank you. Yeah, the first question, because a lot of businesses got a rumor, say they have to be in business at least for 2 years. So what stage of the business can you make loans to? Barden?
So typically we can work with businesses that are over 1 year of operation or longer, though we do assist startups to a limited capacity, usually about 25,000 or less. But once you're over a year, it really depends on the purpose and the use. There are some special cases such as investment real estate or specific industries and startups such as healthcare, physicians and veterinarians, that sort of thing.
Thank you. Renee?
Yeah, so at Bach Capital, we are helping businesses that are in all stages. So this actually includes, we kind of split it up into 3 principal categories. So the first one being the pre-startup. So you're not in operation yet. There is some opportunities there to be able to get financing. Our definition of a startup is any business that has less than 6 months in operation. So that category, we can also help with financing. And then obviously any businesses that have been in operation for more than 6 months, the financial or financing support, it can be available. One little small caveat that I just want to add, though, is when it comes to startup lending, those first 2 categories that I mentioned, pre-startup businesses, those startup businesses, although the opportunities for financing are there, they are very, it is a very unique and detailed process. And what I mean by that is you have to meet very specific requirements in order to be eligible for these loans. And I always have these conversations with clients up front before we run any type of credit, do anything like that. It is a conversation that we will have to see if it makes sense for us to move forward with a startup application. It's not easy. I will be very transparent, but the opportunity is definitely there.
Thank you. Rob?
So we like to see 3 years. We'll entertain 2 startups. As I said, very hard. We do look at total banking relationship though. So I've seen potential transactions actually move over the hump just because they have a long-standing relationship with the bank. But here's a warning: if you're a startup, make sure you have a going concern first. You actually have cash flow first in order to support said loan.
Thank you. Lily?
Also, at Dime Community Bank, we are able to assist almost every stage of the business. So it could be a business over 2 years. It could also be a business that is startup less than 1 year. Again, as what most of the panelists already mentioned, the one new business, it is a long process because you need to submit your business plan and your 2-year projections and make sure it makes sense for us to do the finance.
Thank you. Leo?
Yeah, so typically we ask for 2 years in business, but however, we have approved loans with at least 1 year of tax return. With that said, we are also very excited that we are working on a loan program geared towards startups. So these are businesses under that 2-year mark. So we'll certainly keep you posted once it launches, hopefully in the next month. So that's something we're very excited of.
Thank you. Anthony?
So the longer a company's operating history, the more confident any lender would be. So all of our panelists here. Here at Chase, we do lend to startup companies, especially with an SBA guarantee, although we're very cautious about our lending decisions. For example, startups should have at least 1 year of working capital runway, if not more. And if the owner have previous professional experiences, say, for example, they are a lawyer with experiences and they want to open their own law firm. So that would be considered more favorably. But even if you're not ready for a loan or line application, we can still start your business credit history building by getting you a business credit card. We can talk a little bit more about that later.
Thank you. Jose?
So for us, you have to have been operating for at least 1 year or more. That also means that even if you're looking to purchase a business that's 20 years old, you have to have been operating it for at least 1 year or more.
Thank you. My next question is actually, do you make SBA's guarantee loan, 7A, 504, microloan, or international trade loan? Pardon?
So we do not participate in microloans, but we do participate in the SBA Express for the 5-year term loan or working capital line of credit. We also participate in the SBA 7A loan, both the 10-year fixed term loan as well as the commercial real estate mortgage of 25 years, and then the 504 loan program as well. And we do the SBA import loan.
Okay, thank you. Renee?
Yeah, so at Bach Capital, the main SBA program that we have on the lending side of things is the SBA Microloan program. These are loans anywhere between $500 up to $50,000. Really is one of our sweet spots. Our organization is expanding in the recent years, but historically speaking, that's where Bach Capital has lived in terms of the loan range. We help a lot of businesses be able to get these microloans to either start their business or to be able to expand their business. So that is the only SBA guarantee program that we have, and it is something that we have internal decision-making power, so it doesn't have to go directly through the SBA for a decision. The SBA has entrusted in us to put it through the underwriting process and make the appropriate decisions on those loan applications.
Thank you. Ralph?
So City National Bank is actually a preferred SBA lender. That means we do all our underwriting in-house in order to facilitate SBA credit facilities. So 7As, yes. 504s, yes. Microloans, no. Express loans only if it's in tandem with the 7A or 504. And through our international trade department, we could facilitate supply chain financing.
Thank you. Lily?
So with Dime Community Bank, we participate as 7A and 504 for the real estate purchase on 504 mainly. We don't do microloans and not the international trade loans yet.
Thank you. Leo?
Yeah, so at Pursue, we have a suite of loan programs, including SBA loans. So these include microloans up to 50,000, as Renee also mentioned, to SBA 7A and 504s that can go up to 5.5 million. We don't do international trade loans, at least not yet.
Thank you. Anthony?
Chase is also an SBA preferred lender, meaning that we underwrite in-house also to move the process forward. We do provide 7A and 504, and we also have an integrated application process for both the conventional and SBA loans, which means that if you don't qualify for a conventional type of loan, we would automatically consider you for the 7A, SBA Express, etc. And the typical turnaround time is around 2 business days. To make it easy for applicants, we also require no submission of financial or tax documents at the application stage for any loan or line product below $250,000, and we charge no application fees.
Thank you. Jose?
We don't do the international trade loans, but we do microloans up to 150,000. Some of them do have an SBA backing, but we do not have the 504 loans either.
Thank you. My next question, other than the SBA guarantee loan, what kind of other loan products do you have? Martin?
So TD is a full service bank. So if there's a purpose for financing, there's a solution for it here, whether that's term debt, working capital lines of credit, commercial real estate mortgages. We both do owner occupied, meaning your business occupies and it contributes at least 51% of the rent roll and occupies 51% of square footage. We also do investor real estate. We have specialized lending for healthcare and franchise industries. We also provide letters of credit, both for commercial tenancy security as well as for international transactions. And in addition to that, we also assist with equipment lease financing. So, really coming to us and letting us know the purpose and the strategy of your business is really important. The tools are in the toolkit. So, come to us with what the need is, and we can kind of have that discussion from a strategy standpoint.
Thank you. Renee?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in my introduction, we're not a bank. As a CDFI nonprofit lender, we have 2 distinct categories of financing that we provide. So when it comes to our term loans, these are loans that you would be paying a principal and interest payment on a monthly basis. Included in that, in terms of the SBA microloan that I had mentioned before, we also have within that same category a lot of other lending programs that have been launched in the recent years. I won't get into all the details of each program individually. What I will say, however, is our reach is expanding in terms of the dollars that we can deploy to the businesses. Previously, just a few years ago, the maximum that we were able to do was 50,000. We've been scaling up now. The maximum that Bach Capital can do on the term loan side of things, $250,000, not limited to SBA guarantee programs. We have, like I said, a lot of other guarantee programs that are available via our other state and city funders. Another distinct category of financing that we have, which is very popular right now, is our contract-based loan product. So if you are a business, especially if you're working with the government, whether you're working with the city level government, whether you're working with the state government, there are opportunities for financing here for what's considered bridge capital. So this is very short-term financing, has a lot of characteristics of a line of credit. It is not a traditional line of credit, but again, has certain characteristics of a line of credit, and it helps you perform on these contracts that you're getting from government agencies. If you have a non-New York City agency project, the maximum amount there is $250,000. If you have a New York City agency contract, the maximum available in that program is up to $1 million. So there's a big difference there. We're really flowing in that product a lot. I myself, one of the loan officers here as part of our team, I handle a lot of our contract-based loans, and I can say it is a very hot product at the moment. So if you're working with a government or you plan on working with the government in the future, you need financing for that, there's definitely something that we can potentially help with.
Thank you. Rao?
City National is a full service bank, so yes, lines of credit, term loans, equipment fund, leasing, letters of credit. But I think one thing to point out is that the true product is the banker or lender that you're actually working with. Banking's banking, products are products. There's little bells and whistles, but he or she, it's the lender or the banker that's going to get you to the touchdown. That's the most important product, if you would.
Thank you. Lily?
So as Barton and Ralph, we are a full service bank. So we do offer lines of credit, equipment financing, and so on and so forth. It's the same product for to say. Probably Anthony later would mention about the same thing. So it is how we planning. You know, what do you need ultimately to fit into the roles? I mean, we do commercial real estate. We do owner occupy, and it really depends on the what your needs for.
Thank you. Leo?
Yeah, so in addition to the SBA loans mentioned earlier, we also have loans through New York City, New York State, pursuits specific loans. So depending on the loan program, some loans we can give the applicant a decision in 2 to 3 business days. And if approved, we can fund that in the next day or two. So these loans, as Lily mentioned, you know, there's different uses for it. Could be for working capital, marketing, payroll, inventory, etc. So our loan, just to give you a short list, we have loans for veterans. We have a line of credit loan. We have a New York State contract financing loan, along with loans in other states, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Illinois, and just recently expanded to Washington State. So pretty excited about that.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yes, here at Chase, we also provide all sorts of different financing products, including a revolving 5-year working capital business line of credit, term loans for small businesses. For equipment financing, we can finance up to 100% of the value of the equipment, owner-occupied commercial real estate. And I want to also talk about a business credit card, especially for companies with no previous credit history. You can also use your own credit as a support for one-time application to a business credit card for your business. We have $0 annual fee credit cards with our promotions of 0% interest rate for the first 12 months. Some businesses consider it even cheaper than getting a business line of credit. So that's also available for you.
Thank you. Jose?
So our core product is the term loan at the moment up to $150,000. We also have lines of credit up to $25,000. We have some industry specific products such as the home daycare loan product, for example. There are no application fees, so you don't lose anything by applying, and we do soft credit pulls. So.
Thank you so much. Okay, the next question. When should borrowers contact you? Rajan?
As soon as you have a twinkle in your eye. If you're a business owner, your banker should be a lot like your barber. You go get your hair cut regularly, in the same sense that we're here to assist you with your business, and whether it's performance, strategy discussions, general questions, right? Everything that you do has a financial component to the business, whether you're really deep into the solution of your business or the development of it. A bank is going to be the resource that supports anything where the cash moves through that series of transactions. So whether you're thinking about your company more as an asset or a source of income, how you'd like to have it grow, maybe pass on to family members or significant others, how you want to even transact to make yourself more accessible to your clients or control your payables with your vendors. Those are all discussions you should have with your banker to make sure that you're set up correctly and making the right investments, whether it's from a credit standpoint or a cash management standpoint.
Thank you. Renee?
I mean, yeah, I couldn't agree enough with what Barton just mentioned. Right, he hit it right on the head there. It really is a matter of having these conversations really early on, not waiting until you're in a crunch, not waiting until there's an emergency to actually have a conversation with your banker or with your financial consultant, your business coach, whoever it may be. These are discussions that you should be having very, very early on. One thing I always like to tell my clients is you never want to actually approach a lender and I'm ripping this from Ralph actually because he says this quite a bit when we're on these panels. You never want to go to a lender, or you want to try to avoid going to a lender when you needed the money yesterday. that really is a difficult spot to be in because the loan process time, it takes time. Depending, even if it's a really quick product, a really quick turnaround time, it is something where if you have these conversations really early on, and I would actually say understanding the requirements and the different loan products for each of the lenders is a critical component to all of that. So you don't have to go to each of these institutions, have us run your credit, submit an application with each and every one of us. That's not necessary, but have the conversation. Understand what they're doing at Dime Community Bank. Understand what they're doing at TD Bank, what we do here at BAC, so that when the moment does come that you need financing, you are already equipped with the information of, okay, I need this for my business right now. I remember that conversation that I had with Anthony at Chase. They have a really good product for this. I'm going to go and have this conversation and initiate the process instead of trying to figure that out when the fire is already going. So that's my biggest advice. Do it as early as possible.
Thank you. Rao?
I'll put it another way, especially for the parents out there. Like my youngest son, Xavier, went to me and said, I want to be class president. Cool. What do you need? I had to do a poster. Cool. When's it due? Tomorrow. Don't be Xavier. Now, did the poster happen? Yes. Did he get elected? Of course he did. However, it's all about creating and maintaining a relationship with your banker. I wasn't necessarily happy with my son, but I'm glad it worked out. Earlier the better, it'd be great.
Thank you. Lily?
So I echo everybody, earlier is the better. Even if you have an idea come out of your mind, when you wake up tomorrow morning, says, I want to open up something, I want to do something, talk to your banker, have your banker plan it out with you. Because I've seen a lot is they're use up all their cash resources, their personal credit cards, and then they come out to a banker, ask for business loans, which at that time their credit history was kind of dropping, and there's no money to support the lending. So it's getting tougher when you really need money. It is better off when you start planning at day 0 or day -1.
Thank you. Leo?
Yeah, I think my fellow panelists before me, I think all said really provided really great insight. I think, you could have the same business, but it could be 2 separate businesses depending on the time. And just to reiterate, what the others mentioned, you want time on your side so you can better plan and just prepare for any future cash flow issues. Certainly before the business is in desperate need of financing, and I also want to address the why, besides the obvious, looking for financing, but also, the precursor to that is it's going to help you be more loan ready. So that means, what are the documents you need to have in place? What are the resources that also you need to have ready as well. So definitely reach out to my fellow panelists as well.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yeah, I would just like to point out one financial product that maybe you are not aware of, the business line of credit. So a business line of credit functions like a reserve account. So once it's approved for, say, a duration of 5 years, and then you keep the money there, right? But you'll pull it whenever you need it. It's a little bit like the home equity line of credit. So with that particular product, although it may sound counterintuitive, the best time to apply for that line of credit is when you least need it and when you're in the best financial shape, because this allows the lender to make an easy lending decision for you. So think about like taking out your own life insurance when you're young and healthy and in the best physical shape, right? It works very similarly for a business line of credit, which we consider also as a cash flow insurance policy, right? What if there is another global health crisis, right? We all went through COVID. What about a war, right? So talk about all these scenarios, right, to project your financial needs in different macroeconomic situations, not just for your business, but also for your industry, right? Talk to your banker so that you are well prepared in case something happens to the macroeconomic situation. And so you are always ready for all scenarios.
Thank you. Jose?
The bad thing about being last is that everyone takes all the good answers. I echo what everyone has said. I would only add that it's really important to know your business and understand the ebbs of the flow of it. If you know there's a high season, you want to prepare for that and you want to ask for those funds on time. And the other thing I would add is also I think someone mentioned it, understand why you need the funds. Just money doesn't resolve everything in your business necessarily. It may be a marketing issue, it may be a pricing issue, it may be other things. So, really understand when you're going to a lender how much you need and why you need it for. Remember, you have to pay this money back. So you don't want to borrow money without knowing how it's going to really help create wealth for your business and future growth.
Okay, thank you, Jose. Now I will reverse, okay? Reverse the order. You will be the first to address.
Oh, okay.
So, a lot of businesses, they dare not to talk to the lenders. They say, their credit score is not good. They don't want to put their, collateral there. So actually, what's your minimum requirement for the credit score or the collateral, Jose?
Yeah, so the very minimum for us when it comes to credit score is 575. We do have very specific, it's actually specific to specific demographics and areas where it doesn't matter where what your credit score is, and you kind of go through an education system where within 3 months you get a $5,000 line of credit. But for the most part, the bare minimum is 575. That said, just because you have a 650 or 700 doesn't mean we could help you. Some people with a 750 credit score, it may look great, the score itself, but the content of the credit is sometimes even more important. How old the credit is, how diverse it is. So that's something that we take into account as well.
Thank you. Anthony?
Oh, and no collateral requirements for us.
Okay, that's great. Okay, Anthony.
So here at Chase, there is no minimum credit score requirement. But credit score is only one of the criteria, as Jose was mentioning. So with the SBA related loans, we follow the acceptable credit scores, which is generally around 600 plus. And we want businesses capital injection of around 10 to 20%. And Jose also mentioned about collateral. For a small ticket SB 7(a) loan of 25,000 and below, we do not require any collateral. So this is also another way of us supporting SBA related type loans.
Thank you. Leo?
Yeah, I would say don't get too fixated on credit score. Yes, it is a factor when making an overall loan decision, but typically not the main decision why a loan is declined. So with that said, and just answering the question more directly now, some programs will have a minimum, which is 640, while others may not have a minimum credit score. The good news is there's always ways to increase your credit over time. So certainly put your best foot forward. And the last point on collateral, typically with our loans, pursuit loans up to 100,000, there's no collateral pledge.
Thank you. Lily?
So at Dime Community Bank, we typically ideal credit score is 680, but I've underwrite and approved 620 credit score. So credit score is not a big of deal as long as those issues are explainable and it's fixed. So it's a minimum questions. But in terms of collaterals, depends on what you're looking for. Most likely, we will put a lien, we'll put a UCC file on business asset at a minimum. And sometimes if it's a 504, if you don't have any personal asset, we might ask you to do a insurance as a guarantee or use your personal asset as a guarantees.
Thank you. Ralph?
So we like to see 680, but again, it's like the other panel is saying, it's just a number. You could have been at 750 at one point and you dropped to 680. That doesn't mean you get the loan per se. Now there's a story to be explained as to why there was a drop. Or if it's a 650 and it's only because you've been maxing out all your personal credit cards to support your business, that's a story that you can explain as well. So it's not what the number is what the story behind it. And in terms of collateral, don't be scared if you have to pledge something, because the most favorite outfit of a banker besides suits is warm flannel pajamas with a blanket and hot cocoa in his hand. Because if you're able to give that lender a warm and fuzzy feeling about your application, the more likely you get approved.
Thank you. Renee?
Yeah, so I'll start with the collateral piece because it's a very simple answer. We don't have any collateral requirements here. If it's available, awesome if you can pledge it, but it's not something that we require. When it comes to credit, it's in line with what my other panelists have said here, where the context really matters. We don't have any minimum credit scores here at our organization. I will say, though, the lower the amount that you're applying for, the more flexibility there is. So the higher you start climbing up in that loan request ladder, as I like to say, the more stringent we can become when it comes to any delinquent items on your credit. But really, our goal is to be able to help you become a stronger entrepreneur. We use our credit counseling services here. So we have a bunch of folks on our organization who are certified by the city of New York to provide credit counseling. This means that if you come to us, even before you apply for a loan, if we identify that there are any credit issues, we can help you resolve those credit issues, help identify what's wrong on your credit, put a plan in place as to how you can increase your credit. That goes hand in hand with that loan process that you're looking to enter. So we're not going to fixate too much on the credit. Really, for us, we're more so a cash flow lender. So we're going to be looking at that more critically. But obviously, credit is going to be a factor that gets taken into consideration.
Thank you. Barton?
So to kind of move away from the score part of the credit, I'm going to make it a little more simple. We're looking at your character as a borrower, right? So, are there delinquencies? Are there charge-offs? Are you late on paying, any sort of lending? Do you use the right credit solutions for the right reasons? All of that becomes very apparent when we pull your credit report. Yeah, sure, we're looking a little bit at the score, but what we're really looking at is the behaviors that are transcribed on your historical credit use. So it's really a good idea before you apply for lending. If you don't know your credit report, go actually pull it, read it. And if you're not familiar with it, bring it to a banker or to an advisor or to a resource through the Chamber of Commerce to help them translate it for you. But you can look at that at least once a year at annualcreditreport.com. So it's really important to know that for yourself. On the collateral piece, it really depends on how much you're looking for and the purpose. I'll just speak generally that we have a couple different credit segments as a full service bank. Anything from 250,000 and down, we don't technically require collateral. We will require a blanket asset lien against the business pending an approval. And so there's certain flexibilities in that space, especially if you're a service-based industry or if you're, let's say, somebody that's got to do billables and you don't have a diversity of accounts receivable yet, which you can use as collateral, right? And then you can kind of build that over time as you scale your business. Once you're over 250,000, we're requiring one-to-one collateral, which means for every single dollar you borrow from us, we require a dollar of collateral. And bear in mind, whatever you're pledging, we're taking a discounted value of that. In the event of non-repayment on that loan, we need to make sure that we make up our costs. So that changes based on the type of collateral you're offering. So think about what you're doing with that business plan or your industry or what you're looking to do, because that's going to influence, what your financing might look like, and also where you might need to go to recoup monies or work with your lender if things go south.
Thank you. Yeah, I always tell the borrowers, actually, they have to show they have a capability to repay the debt. So especially the cash flow statement. So what is a good cash flow statement for you? Jose?
Well, it's relative. Sometimes the more people make, the more they spend, and the more complicated it is. I've seen lawyers who have, as an example, maybe they make a lot of money, but also their expenses are very high. And so just because you make more doesn't mean you manage it very well, or it's easier to find coverage. It's easier to work with someone who maybe has revenues of $10,000 a month, but they spend, let's say, $6,000 a month on average, versus someone who could make, $100,000 a month, but we see expenses of $110,000. So it's harder to prove coverage. Now, in terms of the numbers itself, most of our loans are 2-to-1 coverage. Some of them are 1-to-1, depending on which loan product we're able to put you in. What that means is that we take into account depending on which product. Some of them we do business cash flow. So we just look at the business income and business expenses and what's left over. That's the number we're working with. Versus global cash flow would be both business and personal. We take into account business income, and business expenses and personal expenses and see what's left over. So whatever's left over, whenever we're talking about, lenders are talking about coverage, 1-to-1, 2-to-1, what that means is, let's say it's 2-to-1. If you're left over with $1,000 a month, then the loan amount can be more than 500. It can be half. You have to be left with twice as much as the proposed monthly payment. If it's 1-to-1, then you should be left over with 1,000. So you're able to pay on par with whatever you're left over with.
Thank you, Anthony. Oh no, Leo,
Yes. So compared to the credit score and also collateral, cash flow is critically important for us. Chase is a cash flow lender. That means that we take into consideration how much revenue a business generates as the basis to determine how much we can lend to a company. So we want you to be able to generate enough business revenue, not just to repay the loan obligations, but also to have some buffer for your other business expenses to grow your company. So our usual minimum for global debt service coverage ratio, as Jose was saying, so including business as well as personal debts, is 1.25 times global. So it is our responsibility as a good lender to ensure that the borrower has the ability to pay the loan and leave some buffer for yourselves as well. So, but since this is an SBA seminar, our SBA minimal global service ratio is decreased to 1-to-1. So as long as you're able to earn enough revenue to pay off all the loan applications, we're okay with that.
Thank you. Leo?
Yeah, echoing what Anthony and Jose said, I think also just to simplify, there should be more dollars coming in for the business than going out. So if that's the case, that's certainly a good financial position to be in for the business. However, there are going to be exceptions where we may still be able to approve a loan if that's not the case. One, looking at personal cash flow from the global perspective, and also, we've had cases where a business owner comes to us and they're trying to bring down the really high interest online debt they took on, upwards of 30-40%. It's kind of scary. So if the underlying business is still good, we can certainly take a further look at it.
Thank you. Lily?
So bottom line is you should have enough residual income to pay your loans. So that means that your net income should be at least equal or more than the loan payment amount. The simple put is, if you earn $1, you should have, if you're lending ask for $1 of payment every month, you should have at least $1 in the revenue to pay that money. So for the Dime's regular loans, we're looking for 1 to 1.25. In terms of SBA, we could go in between 1-to-1 ratio or 1.1 ratio.
Thank you. Ralph?
So you're going to hear 1.25, 1.15 for debt service coverage ratio, basically dollar debt, dollar plus for net income. But I think it's even more important to, again, story behind the numbers. Where is that income actually coming from? If it's coming from operating activities, great. But if you're showing in your financial statements revenues coming from a sale of equipment or liquid assets or some type of tax strategy, the underwriter can say, okay, that sounds great for this year. Is that sustainable? So again, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the story behind the numbers and how you manage your cash flow cycle from year over year.
Thank you. Renee?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in my previous answer, cash flow, and some of the other panelists have also mentioned this. So cash flow is going to be very, very important For us, it is in line with some of the other answers that you've heard so far. Our policy does say that at minimum, we do want to see that 1.25 to 1 global debt service ratio. But I will say that there's a lot of flexibility. We've been able to approve loans that are 1 to 1, 1.05 to 1. We're not going to do a deal where it's negative. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Maybe there's a circumstance where that could be acceptable given what the projections for the future are. However, we're not a projection-based lender. We are a historical-based lender. We're going to be looking at your historical financials. We have to make a decision based off of your historical cash flow. So it's going to be very important, but just know there's flexibility. We want to understand the context, the nuances, just the little details that make up the numbers. As you know, it's not just looking at the number and making a decision. It's understanding the numbers and the story behind the numbers as well. So I'm just echoing some of the other comments that you've heard so far because they're, incredibly important.
Thank you. Barton?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways to look at debt service coverage ratio and global debt service coverage ratio. But long story short, the bank or your lender is in the business of risk, right? We're at risk of giving you money and you not necessarily paying us back. Whether we're a nonprofit or a for-profit, that's kind of our to watch for, right? So underwriting takes risk into consideration. You're also in the business of risk, right? Like if you go and you get money from a lender or an investor and there are strings attached, what does that cost you? Are you going to make money? So kind of the intersection where everybody is happy is where you, the borrower, the business are profitable. So for us, that can look at, generally speaking, a debt service coverage ratio and a global debt service coverage ratio of 1.20. So for every dollar that you borrow, you better be able to pay us back with $1.20 so that you have a margin of profitability going forward. And I'll just kind of mention here that it's a simple ratio where we take a look at all of your revenues and your expenses and the proposed debt and any existing debt that's out there that's not getting refinanced. So, that's something that you can use and make a lot of decisions with in making sure that your business can afford financing or specific investments or decisions that you want to do. TD Bank's got a great resource center on our customer-facing website. You go to the small business section and it's right there. Number 2 is focus on profit. Number 3 is pricing for growth. And there's a great 12-month cash flow statement that you can play around with. So highly encourage you to use the resources that are open and available to you. And of course, talk to your banker or your business advisor.
Thank you. Okay. Next question is, you have helped so many businesses. So what is the most common mistakes, borrowers made? Leo?
Sure, I can go first. I would say most common mistake is what I mentioned earlier of just not planning, and not taking action and taking it too late, because I mentioned you could have the same business, but let's say with the lack of planning, lack of taking action, a year later, it could be a completely different business from possible approval to a decline. So I would say that's probably the most important, is having time on your side. So I just wanted to double down on that point.
Thank you. Jose?
I think when you're in a business, you have to wear multiple hats, but it's impossible to be good at everything. Marketing, accounting, operations. So, you could be the best cook in town, but if your marketing's not there, if your financials are not, up to par, then it may make the difference between a successful business and an unsuccessful one. So specifically, I'll focus on the financial part. Get a good accountant. It's really important, especially when you're thinking about future growth, when you'll need eventually a loan. At the end of the day, we want to see, is this business viable? Can this business pay us back? And the only way to really see that is what's on paper. So it's really important to understand, maybe you don't have to become an accountant, but at least understand what the numbers mean and have those numbers be real and transparent. Again, that this shouldn't be just for the IRS because you have to do it, but it should also be meaningful to you so you could understand the health of the business. I use the example of when you go to a doctor, you don't have to become a doctor to understand the report of your vitamin levels, what you can do, shouldn't be doing to improve your personal help. Same thing for the business. You should at least start learning enough or have an accountant that teaches you enough to understand what's your current status, state of your business, and what you can do to improve.
Thank you. Anthony?
So one mistake is that just bear in mind that the IRS and the business banker look at the same tax return for the business. So I have clients who tell me that, okay, they earn $1 million, and then on paper, on the tax return, it says that it's negative. So because we look at the same tax return, while a CPA wants to help you save as much tax as possible, it also shows us that the net income for the company is too low to sustain any kind of business credit. So the lender, like ourselves, will come in and question the repayment ability, right? We've been talking about it over the last hour, but how over leveraging might increase the risk of a company, and that we are not able to lend to you. So involve us, right, as one of your advisory board. Talk to us beforehand, before you file your tax return. Some of my clients and I, we start in mid-year so that you have sufficient runway to then plan ahead for the year-end financial results. So so just keep in mind that, yeah, there's just one tax return that everyone looks at.
Thank you. Lily?
So I would say start planning early, because I've seen a lot of them come out to me at the dear needs that I need at least 200,000 next week, which in underwriting system, it's not gonna happen that quick, especially, and there's customer also, come up to us saying that, give me whatever you can approve, which I don't know how much do you need it for. So, plan early and talk to your banker as early as possible. Don't wait till the last minute. That's my suggestions.
Thank you. Rao?
Big mistake not realizing that seeking a business credit facility, it's the same thing as trying to get a job interview and getting a job. Exact same thing. If you're getting trying to get a job, you're putting on a suit, making sure your resume is impeccable, your skills are impeccable, making sure your answers are correct to the hiring manager. But with the disadvantage that the hiring manager is a credit underwriter that you'll never see. So you're communicating with that banker or lender who you have to make an advocate for you, for that credit underwriter to say yes.
Thank you. Renee?
Man-Li, I just want to clarify, was your question in regards to the common mistake that's the borrowers make, or one mistake? Yeah. So it's in line with something that Jose mentioned in his response, which we see it a lot here, and it's in line with some of the other comments made about taxes. It's particularly important. It's not that a decision is going to be made solely on your tax returns, but what I will mention is a lot of times clients, again, in an effort to be able to save on the amount of taxes that they have to pay to the government. I know it's annoying. We have to pay taxes on the business side. We pay taxes on our personal side. Yes, we can all have our opinions about taxes, but it is necessary. It is lawful. You need to be able to do your taxes, and you need to do them appropriately. I have conversations with folks all the time that tell me, well, Renee, my business is generating X amount of dollars. Their tax returns completely contradict a conversation that we had. So in terms of a common mistake that I see is that they're not filing their taxes appropriately. They probably don't have the right CPA. Maybe they did it just out of ignorance. Maybe they're doing it on purpose. It doesn't really matter. We as a lender have to go based off of the information on documentation. You can make $1 million a day. If your financial statements say you make $1 a day, that's what's going to be counted in the loan process. So don't make that mistake. Be strategic about how you file your taxes. Obviously, there's ways for you to be able to save on taxes. Take advantage of those loopholes. Take advantage of the tax codes. You can do all those things. Just don't blatantly lie to the point where you're now then stunting the growth of the company potentially because you can't get financing.
Thank you. Barton?
Yeah, I think all of my colleagues have made the really important points, right? But I'll just add one more, and that is don't go into debt for the sake of going into debt, right? Like a lending solution is not a gamble, it's not a hedge, it's not a it's not a resource if it encumbers you, right? So it's really important to think about why you need to borrow money in the first place. Is it a collections issue? That begs the question, are you accessible to your clients in the right ways? Do you need to find ways to accelerate your receivables if you're not a point of sale customer, right? Or maybe it's on the other side. Are your terms in repaying your vendors really good? But can you negotiate down some of the costs involved with that, or change the terms of when you need to repay? Are you spending on marketing? I can't tell you how many lending requests, when I go and look at returns, I see almost nothing spent on marketing, which is a huge issue for return on investment to make sure your company is visible to the target audience that you have. Are you looking through a business plan at least once a year, which is a living document of what you want to do, how you're going to do it, and where you're going to go? If you're not doing that self-reflection and doing those strategic thought processes as the business owner, more often than not, you're going to turn to debt as a solution when what it may end up doing is over encumbering you and then causing you to have just additional expenses rather than generating profit. And we want you to be profitable. So if you don't know where those resources are, reach out to any of us. In fact, reach out to many of us. I would encourage you to do so because we all talk to each other. We're all connected to one another, and we have a bunch of community resources that are really there to support the small business community of New York. So don't treat us like a transaction. Look at us for a relationship. Let us be part of your community, and make sure that you're making sound financial decisions.
Wow, thank you so much. First, I would like to thank the business here today, and the lenders. Actually, I think today their camera, this chamber have a special. The screens look so nice. So I will request the recording for all of you. So I encourage you, just send out to all the customers that you have. Cindy, can you provide that for us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I will post on some chambers websites too. Okay, I love today's video really, and all of your presentation. Okay, thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Man-Li, and thank to all the lenders for being with us and sharing their own experience. We will send the attendees the presentation and together with the recording, as Man-Li said, in the next few days. Okay, no questions, so we can end the webinar.
Right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.